doing out there? What's happening? Thought I'd do like a sneak live. I'm just trying to see if anybody's out there, see how your day is going. Caught a little bit of just kind of skimming some things. I still don't always go all the full out with the NFL. Still thinking about, obviously Colin Kaepernick always stays on my mind. But I did observe some of the scores. I observed some of the things. I kept up with Buffalo winning against Washington because, I want to see how they're doing. Washington needs a quarterback. That's not a good look with that cat. Miami, Denver. Whoo! Dang, they look like the Heat. I was watching that. What's up, Ted? What's up? I watched that score. I couldn't believe my eyes. 70-20. And did Sean Payton come back that? I don't know. I'm talking about that right now. I'm like, 70 points. Is LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in disguise with Ray Allen or something? I'm like, whoa. It's going to be a long year for Denver. I think Sean Payton made it just wanted to stay the heck on out, talk all that tough talk. Whether Russell Wilson got or whatever he got, they blew a game against Washington last week, and they come back and like did this stinker, and you gave up over 100 points. Yeah, well, Buffalo beat Washington today, but it just I ain't seen a football game like that. That alone, when you see an NFL team put up those kind of numbers, the AT&T 80-30, 83 to like 3, but when you see it on the NFL, it's like you gotta be kidding me. But that's how it is right now. What's up now, B-Rag? Yeah, there's some tension out there. Pete Carroll and the general manager, whatnot, they it's gonna be one of them stories. It's saving up for a 30 for 30. They'll turn around years and they'll heal, but right now it's just bad. It's really bad. It's really bad in Seattle with that. But people wondering, I think Nick Wright was talking about what Kansas City blow up. Yeah, Justin Fields. I feel for Justin Fields because he ain't lying. He's always scrambling, have to make things happen. They're just not a good team. They suck. And I remember when their coach Nagy was their coach and people clown with Mitch Trubisky, but they were actually kind of okay to something. But they just horrible. They are horrible. They are fresh, hot trash. They're already a lottery. I hate to say it. It's 14 weeks left of the season. You may as well get ready to get the ping pong balls out and get your cap out because you're going to definitely be in the top 3 seats right now. Mahomes looking good. I'm not shocked or surprised. I think Kansas City just had the hiccup because not having Jones and Kelsey out there for game 1 is the only reason why they're not 3-0. But we already know Patrick Mahomes is full tilt. And they're going at their best. They're going to smoke. They're going to steamroll over a lot of teams. And Chicago is going to be up in yada for a lot of folks up in yada. But yeah, not surprised by that game at all. Kansas City, Chicago sucks. It's bad. But yeah, the Seattle thing, it's deeper. It's pretty deep. He didn't leave on the world. Yeah. Jordan Love was poised. Carr got knocked out. But let me tell you something about New Orleans. Their defense is tight, but Dennis Allen don't know what he's doing on offense at all. They have Kamara, Michael, what they got, but they just don't do nothing. They're only averaging. They beat Carolina. I think they barely cracked 20, but they did. Week 1 against Tennessee, 16. This game, 17. They're not scoring points. Their defense, it reminds me of the old Wade Phillip. It's the old, I give you 14, 17 points, kind of like the way Tampa Bay used to do, but they can't score no points. New Orleans is an offensive in a rut, and if they stuck with Jameson, they'd be in a real funk. Jordan Love was poised. It was a big win. It's actually the kind of game that's where Green Bay is now. Can they win those kind of games? That's where they are. I don't know that, that they're going to be much better than that. But close games, if they can keep games close, that's where they are right now. Yeah. I told you if your last name's Wilson, unless you Charlie Wilson, you're not hitting no more. Zach Wilson, he is playing older than Russell Wilson. Yeah, the Jets defense, they almost fooled around and got that game, but that ball had a ricocheted. That was crazy. Yeah, when you let mac and cheese ain't doing nothing. Belichick is learning the hard way. It's gonna be a long way to win. You remember when you win 12, 13 games a year? Yeah, it's gonna be. You might need all 3 years if he lasts that long. Um, you feel for them almost in the sense that hey, you lose a quarterback, and you just sense that this team is just not. It's gonna be a long season. I really don't know if Aaron Rodgers would have made that much of a difference. Hard to say because I think that Robert Saleh, he's a good defensive minded coach. I don't know if he's a head coach also. I don't know if he's I just think there's something else missing there too. They should have beaten New England too because mac and cheese had that turn out, but um, not much thoughts on that though. But their defense is good though. Their defense is good, and I don't know why they don't run the ball more. Why they don't do more. Um, you know, Someone's got a video or something on somebody because he's got to know he's a dead man walking the earth. He got to know he's a problem. He got to know nobody wants him. So, that's that. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of blowouts right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. So we're just like watching and, seeing what's happening right now. But yeah, that was a great mention about that Seahawks thing. They're really, that's hard to believe too. That's been 10 years ago because that's when he was really at the Packers game. If they stink it up, the way they go through coaches there, you might be on to something. They didn't got rid of coaches the last few years. I think he may have been over his head. He's arrogant enough. He was talking really crazy last year on the set with Jimmy Johnson and talking stuff. He had to have been smarter than to think that he was going to go in and flip the script with Russell Wilson. He had to have. Russell, I'd say about 2020 was the last year he was still on the good side. But his peak prime, pretty much 2018, 19, just ain't really. Well, it's hard to say if what's up, Shorty? I'm gonna address it just with a quarterback in such a way that Breeze and Josh Allen would have been interesting because I think that's one of the problems I have with Sean McDermott. He's not an offensive minded coach. It would have been interesting. Hard to say. Shorty asked me, "Do you think the next president is going to be more?" I wear my mask every day. I have multiple masks. If I go out and I keep a mask on. Regardless of where you come from, clean, keep yourself protected. Gloves if you can. Don't trust the CDC, don't trust the government. All them people talking about what the DeSantis, all them talking that mess, they didn't got multiple jabs because they got the good stuff. So I would say keep yourself protected. Don't listen to them. Use common sense. Ain't nobody using it now. Teammates of Rucker Silver. I appreciate that, Shorty. Great question, great point, because I do believe that they're not telling a lot. There's a lot more going on. People going back in hospitals, stuff is up. I have an uncle who works the VA in Virginia and talk about the stuff they got to go through. So this stuff is far from over. They just don't, they want to downplay it because they got to worry about these shutdowns, these layoffs, these other situations with the dollar economy, the politics, all the stuff that's stirring in the pot, and of course the Trumpisms and all that mess. Don't want to tell the people on the real. There's a lot going on. I appreciate that, Shorty T. Appreciate that. Yeah. Well, I said that. I mean, I lived out in the area where he was playing for the Seahawks, and I saw his cornball commercial. There was some cheese. If you ever stream his commercials, you'll cringe at he had the airlines, Alaska Airlines, and he just did some corny. He just was corny. And then when he got with Sierra, he got to play pompous and, and some people can't believe. They'll say, well, he's younger than Tom Brady, younger than Breeze, or younger. Age ain't got to do with it. Sometimes when you shot. You can just see he's past the pull date. There is no getting back to that guy that was that dude that you saw 10 years ago. Them days is gone. So, just the end of an era there, really. Yeah, he is an old 34. It's just kind of like Cam Newton was an old 32. I got a buddy who's a big Carolina fan. He always talking about Cam back. I said, he can't come back. Sometimes you just know. And some other guys, they burn out by early 30s. It's just things are in the DNA. It's just how it is. Some people are blessed with that longevity, and some people, they hit their prominent peak early. I think Russell's biggest thing was when they took Marshawn away and they didn't go out and get the right pieces. Then when they got rid of his center for Johnny Graham, remember the whole thing with New Orleans, and they tried to be more cute and pretty. That's Pete Carroll's trademark. Hurt, come back to bite him. So I just think that that's one of the things that's hurt. That's him. And then they took a lot of shots. He took a lot of hits. Subsequently, his career just never rebounded. One more year in Denver, but it's over. I mean, they got to make, to get 5 wins, they should have a half a block toilet paper parade. Yes, they did. Then when he was on that stretcher, when it came out, they did all the brothers dirty. That's the thing that no one, unless you lived in the area or saw the Legion of Boom, all the brothers got done dirty on defense. Richard Sherman got ran out because he spoke his mind. Earl Thomas, Michael Bennett took the knee, spoke his mind, got ran out. All the brothers. Only Cam Chancellor's the only one that didn't. But I'm telling you, they was politicking. They thought they were some lucky ninjas to be there, and they underpaid them and all that, and they underachieved. Pete Carroll got the two slow trips, 1 ring, and then they just kind of like, swept them under the rug, and that's the thing. Earl Thomas was the truth. He was the truth. So, and you saw they end up in Baltimore. So it's a shame that these cats didn't get to retire and finish their careers here. That's the thing, that they didn't get to finish where they were. Because I saw it unfold. And Pete Carroll's one of the most hustling cats. I mean, that's why I call him Pete Christmas Carroll. He's the one last man standing. So, all right. I'll see if anybody else has any more comments or anything else to say. It's been good to see a few faces coming. I always appreciate comments and feedback. Anything that you'd like to see in the future, I will definitely do more shows, and whatever we want to talk about. There's a lot going on, i.e. in politics, i.e. in entertainment, i.e. around the world. So feel free to chime in and whatnot. But yeah, that's what's up right now. Some of these games today were blowouts. They were pretty bad football. I would have thought that they would have been a more competitive. Yeah, well, they lost to a better team. Oregon was a better team. And the biggest knock I have against Colorado, and it's something that's going to fall on him, is their defense. Their defense sucks. You cannot play 3 games. You got to make some stops. He can motivate, and his presence alone will win them a couple of games. And Shedeur is a nice quarterback. I like Shedeur. I like what they got. But you got to play defense. Yeah, offensive line is trash because Shedeur's always running and scrambling. Again, I agree with what he said yesterday. Get hit like a pinata now. He gets the 8 or 9 people he needs. They will be a better team. They've already won 3 games. He's already in a can't lose more situation. It's just that against certain people, certain teams, you just gonna lose. There's tiers to this, as I always say. And let's not get it twisted. They're not up there with the top tier teams yet. But give them another year or 2, and you're seeing how things shifted from Alabama to Clemson to Georgia. And you see Michigan is up there ranks, and of course Iowa State stays up there and a few others. So you see a TCU emerge. Hey, anything can happen. He just has to have the right talent. That's the key. I agree. I did a video on it just now. It'll be uploading on these YouTube streets. I said the coach was doing too much Dan Lennon. I said it like this. It's one thing to say you beat and you're going to beat them up. That's fair. But when you say clicks and views, who the heck are you talking to? Because we're in 2023. All these kids and people got merch. Everybody has merch. So, what the heck are you talking about? Oh, Hollywood and Cinderella and all this. I mean, yeah, everybody's in on it. The NCAA has been pimping. So what are you talking about? Yeah, I had a problem with that. I did a video. Philly Mamba, what's up? OG, love it, appreciate you. Well, Jason Coonlock, thank you, Philly Mama. Much respect, much respect. I got some friends from Philly fans, all that, and I get much respect. Thank you, appreciate you. Coonlook, he asked to come at Dion because the plantation don't want. He's like, what's this black guy doing successful? Why? Anybody who's seen what Deion Sanders did as a player, play baseball. Appreciate you, Philly Mama. Knows the guy's a winner. Knows he motivates, charismatic, personality. Then done the thing. The fact that he does commercials with Nick Saban should tell you something. He was doing commercials with Nick Saban a couple years ago, year and a half ago. Think about that for a moment. Think about that. That says something in itself. But you see, Jason Whitlock has always been one of them brothers who didn't whatever with the women, wasn't cool. So every once in a while, like a broke clock, when he supports Kwame Brown, I'm stunned. That's it. The other stuff with him, he been cooning and buffooning. His take against Stephen A. Smith. See, that's the thing about Whitlock, which is so baffling. He nailed it about Stephen A. and he was on point with Kwame, but this other stuff, his self-hating takes, he can hate on Dion for being stylistic in the way of how he carries himself to an extent. But the guy got results. Deion Sanders gets results. And unless Deion wasn't getting results, they buck down. They do. Even though Herm Edwards has always been classy, Ty Willingham's situation with Notre Dame with the University of Washington was bad. But black coaches are pretty much not that, animated per se, what you've seen. So it's just a matter of getting opportunity. That's what it comes down to. But they do want you to be shuffling and, yes, boss. Appreciate you giving me the chance, bosses. Thank you, bosses. I love you, boss. That's what they want. Deion is Deion. And he's youthful in his heart, but he's a deep soul. Well, that sounds like the coonery would come out with lots of mouth. I mean, he would say that. Oregon is a great football team. Top 10 worthy. My problem with Oregon, though, is can they ever fill it up 4? And they win a lot of games, and then they lose that game or two. But he would say some stuff like that because he is part of the agenda that thinks Deion is getting too much, and he doesn't deserve it. And even though white mediocre coaches, I can go on and name many of them. No one talks about Urban Meyer crawling back to them college ranks after he sucked in the NFL. No one's going to hold Urban Meyer having that lap dance. Mm-hmm. See, this is different. You call it. Deion had to be 3 times as good to get 1 foot to the door. That's the black experiment in America with 3 Ks. I tell you about it all the time. You got to be 3 times better to get 1 foot through the door. That's what Deion's experiencing. And he's a God-fearing man. He's spiritual. That's scary because we're in a time when spirituality isn't taught. We're going to do what you want, just like with the mask and with the seat, all this. Do what you want to pay the piper. There is one power. So I'm not going to preach to you, but I'm just telling you. I always say Book of Revelations, we're in the last days of time. You see all the stuff going on around you? Yeah, he did, because Pete is a swinger. Pete's an old hustler. They all like that young candy. They all about that young candy. You saw Robert Kraft. They all about them, all of it. Even Belichick's girlfriend, they just broke up. She was, grown woman, but they all, Jerry Jones, listen. Trump told you what happened when they got the money and the power. Tony Montana told you too. This Me Too culture, cancel all that mess is a joke. You know what goes on, especially in white dudes' world. They get what they want, how they want. So, Pete Carroll then went to SC and was unscathed. Meanwhile, Reggie Bush is the one that had his Heisman Trophy torn to pieces. They treated Reggie Bush like OJ 2.0. Neither one of them should have had the Heisman seized, but Yeah, well, Udoka. That's why Udoka's in Houston. The whole thing with the Celtics mess was that you want to talk about the master of the master. How did Udoka lose his job for having an extramarital affair? What in the constitution was it the owner? See, that never revealed his head. They put him in. They treated him like Jimmy Hoffa. He went in the witness protection program like he was Stan Van Gundy. Now Udoka's in Houston, which is Saudi Arabia. They say you're good enough to be a coach, but we're gonna send your butt far away because you can coach, but you got to be over in Argentina. See how they do that? That's when they can't quite fire you, but that's a fireable place. We know good and well, ain't nobody want to coach no Houston Rockets. Yes, she is, but you see, she's a white woman, and there's prestige and there's power. If Udoka had a beaten Golden State, that would have been interesting. Does he come back? Does he come back? Now, I bring this up because Jeannie Buss, who's the owner of the Lakers, is said, and Dennis Rodman quoted that he was involved with her when he played for the Lakers. So wouldn't that be kind of infringing on, fraternizing with the? But people wonder why I call out America with 3 Ks. I say, look, white folks do what white want to do in America because they know they can do it. And in sport, everybody know how it go down. Just saying. Just saying. So Udoka is a good example of it. If he was so bad and evil, they still gave him a professional job. But they did send him to Saudi Arabia. I mean, the Houston Rockets. I mean, he don't want James Harden. Okay. Yeah, well, their karma is there right now, ain't it? Ain't it right there? I mean, think about it. They've been kind of, I don't want to say cursed, but you consider the last few years, they've been arguably the most important team in the East that just ain't won a ring. There's with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and with Udoka was the coach. And, Boston's history speaks for itself, though. But Doc Rivers, he went to 2 finals, he won one, close to a second. And to me, that's his best coaching job because everything else has been hit and miss, to be nice. He really didn't finish the touches with the Clippers or with Philly, but Boston never did Casey Jones right. If you go back to the 80s, Casey Jones won a couple rings with Bird and them, so I go back with that. They've had black head coaches. Bill Russell was a player coach. Bill Russell was the one that empowered that. Then you get to Casey Jones, who was a great player, Celtic and all that. So they rep. But Brad Stevenson is